So it is 12:31 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting of the CSD Parks, Recreation and Open Spaces Committee meeting to order. We have a quorum, all of the committees present, and we have a lively audience on Zoom. Before I forget, we have Diane Zanotti, works with Mr. Panetta's office, said she's going to Zoom in. We have Harry Farmer and the Schwartzes, probably both Laura and Crosby. Since we have new visitors, we'll go around real quick. I'm Michael Thomas.
I'm Jim Beringer on the board.
Stephen Niffen on the board.
Jeff Wilson.
Shannon Sutherland.
Herbert Johansson on board.
Kitty Conley, FFRP.
Jerry Porter, Rotary Club of Cambria.
And Paul Porter, Rotary Club of Cambria. Julie Amadeus, Gay Cambria.
Dennis Tucci, visitor.
Tony Judge.
All right, let's rock and roll. We have a quorum. Chair report. I have none. Agenda review. I noticed the committee member communications and future agenda items and even the topic that says adjourn didn't make the revised agenda because we moved this from a couple of weeks ago. So rather than say we're unable to adjourn the meeting, I'll simply adjust the agenda at this time to say that we will take future agenda items and adjourn at the end of the agenda.
Glad you got that.
So, yeah, attend to the details. Ad hoc committee reports. Community Parks, we wanted to show the project viability matrix that we've been working on, but I failed to get it up on screen. And Shannon, would you like to describe, because it's your mastermind of it.
We designed a matrix, a viability matrix, so that we could list every project that would be considered on the community park map. And the idea was to address what we have now on the list and to future-proof the community park, so that the community comes to us with ideas for projects, we can run it through the viability matrix and see if it's a viable project to go forward with. The fields include, titling it, a good description, cost, whether it would open the EIR, whether or not it requires permits, what types of permits. It just kind of lists everything. The idea being that if we were to fill out all that data, we'd have a very good understanding of whether or not the project is viable. So, and then we could bring it to the CCSD for further discussion.
One of those that, if we were to print it, it would have to be on one of those 36-inch plots. It's a long, it's always blanket kind of spreadsheet. But it's a tool for the analysis. And eventually then, as we get to reporting out to the committee, we'll draw from that rather than use it. Also, our landscape architect just finalized and got us the existing conditions map. There hasn't really been an accurate an accurate as-built quite of the ranch. The as-built we had was part of the community park plan, so we now have an actual as-built of the ranch, of the community park area. What else do you want to say about community park? The ad hoc committee is meeting with Kitty Connolly and Diana Anderson, FFRP, next Tuesday, April 2nd, to try to put stakes in the ground on the corners of the community park on the East Ranch. Say, these will be the defined corners, because all of the information we have so far is not specific about precisely where those corner points are. Who's going to do that? The ad hoc committee, Shannon and I. Okay.
It's the western boundary of the community park is undefined.
And color scheme,
Was that from the?
yeah, this is color schemes, but, in terms of this shows the color that they picked for the restroom on the East Ranch, but they've got the whole color palette, and we have to look at Jim Green's email from 3 days ago to figure out which one.
I read it, so yeah.
Okay. Anything else on, but that connects to your signage, color schemes. Anything you wanted to share on that?
No movement on that.
Okay.
Still hashing out colors and fonts.
Yeah. And I would hope that whatever color they picked last year for the restroom is gonna be okay, and maybe we can start from there as a stake in the ground. But,
Yeah, I talked to Jen. They're super benign. I'm trying to find the exact palette, but it's they're just blend in the environment, so.
Yeah. So that's follow up. And Jeff, anything on the open space?
No report.
So any committee member communications to share?
I've got one.
Go ahead.
Just a comment on, we'll be talking over the projects later, right?
Yes, yeah.
Just
Not going through
I've looked through the review of the the lots, the parcels that we have set aside for that went off the build list, and we have scattered parcels that we mow every year. And my major comment is the amount of money it takes per year, and what are the values of some of these parcels. And I've asked just briefly talked to the city manager, just brought it up and said, what can these parcels be, and what can you do for them? Can you trade them? Can you sell them? And to buy equal open space? Because the idea was to gain open space within the community. But on the other hand, it's an expensive proposition. I'm not sure the open space is that effective. And if the money parcels were sold to purchase open space in more key areas, that might be worth it. It's a long discussion, I'm sure, but nowhere, but I think it's one of those things that there are some good opportunities in here to consolidate some open space and to gain trade for other open space that would be more useful. And I think we ought to pursue it. I think so, it would really help trails as well as some lands that are going to be cut up and used later that we might not want to, that we would obtain that. So that's just a comment, the future that I think we should address.
Right, and the booklet that Kermit is was showing, this is something that David Aguirre has that shows all the fire hydrants. It shows all of the CSD APNs that are owned, and I borrowed it, and then David said, well, I do have another one, so we've got that at our disposal now, really useful. Anything else, committee member of communications? So, excellent. Now, public comment. This, the regular meeting got moved to a special meeing, so it's a special meeting. So we can't have public comment on items that are not on the agenda. And normally, the way it rolls the best is when we get to each topic, public is welcome to comment on that topic. But at your convenience, if anyone from the public would really rather just comment now and then, sign off, people are welcome to, so.
Oh, because they're making comment on agenda items.
Because they may comment on any of the agenda items at this time, or just wait until it comes up. All right, and let me check. Oh, yes,
I
Julie.
just want to make a comment in regards to the bathroom getting ordered. I think that is exciting because obviously,
Not quite ordered yet.
well, it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not ordered. And it's not all that close.
Yeah.
So maybe an update on the bathroom would be really helpful because everything hinges on it. So all the conversations taking place in regards to what we're doing out there hinge on this bathroom.
Yep.
So I would love some type of an update as to then where the status is, because the communication to the public through our general manager's letters lead us to believe that it is moving in the direction of being ordered.
Yeah, indeed it does. I'll come in briefly. Yes, the general manager's letter of March
15.
14 or 15 said will order within 1 week. Well, more than 1 week has passed and it's not yet ordered, and they're doing a bit of cycling on, he checked with legal counsel that we, if we change the location from what's on the map to what's recommended, do we need to bring that to the county? And there's a bit of churn on that topic. So that's what's cooking. That's about all I know, but boil it down. Yeah, Steve.
Didn't we get the statement at the last meeting that changing that location was not specifically going to do
We
that?
sure did.
That came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
Was not gonna specifically change whether they ordered the bathroom or not.
yeah, it just was not gonna slow anything down.
That's what I heard.
Yes, okay.
So we're,
Here we are being slowed down.
Yeah.
Right, that's,
none of us are really pleased to hear
No.
what I'm reporting,
Yes.
including myself.
Why don't we
Telling you what I know. Yeah.
tell the general manager to do what he should do? It's his
well,
decision.
I
It's his
hear,
decision, not ours.
I'm not,
So let's not spiral into it.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
what it is.
I hear you.
And I need to check, okay, let's just ask, Laura, or Crosby, can you just let us know, are you able to hear us okay?
Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, we're hearing you okay. The microphones aren't terrific, but that's what we've got. So yeah, we can understand you.
Yes, as possible. Okay, let's roll ahead then. It is 12:43 and it's time for brief reports from groups that and I believe it's gonna be Kitty and Julie who are here. This is
Okay, so from Friends of the Fiscal Ranch Preserve, weeding is ongoing. This is no surprise to anyone who's been outside. There's a lot of weeds, there are a lot of weeders, they're putting in many long hours, targeting nasty little plants. There were some hazardous trees removed probably in February, but they needed to be removed right away because they were over the trail and they were falling. So there was some damage to the trails, which has been partially remediated by spreading wood chips. So I just wanted to let you know that the contractor who took out the trees went back, really chipped the trees, and then he spread the wood chips on the trails. So the trails are not in stellar, use the upper trails are not in stellar condition, but they're in better condition than they were. FFRP's board voted last month to dedicate the funds for the boardwalk. So now we are just, which ended up being almost, 3 times what they were when I started. The expense of the boardwalk is 3 times what it was when I was told when I started in 2020. So this is a substantial commitment on the part of FFRP, and we were all sitting down when we took the vote. A lot of money, but there have been multiple broken bones on that trail. We hope to have the boardwalk before the CCSD board in early April. At their meeting, they're crafting an agreement. We haven't seen the agreement. I expect it's still in draft form. So hopefully we'll see the agreement. We'll be agreed, we won't have to make any changes. We'll go through the CCSD board, they'll approve it. I have my contractor ready to go. He's has to hire a crew, so he's ready to go. And on public access side, we're planning to have Spanish language classes or Spanish language programs, family programs, like docent walks in Spanish. One of our board members is bilingual and is also a marine biologist. So he has agreed to lead these walks and I'm really happy about that. Yeah, It's nice. That's what I have to report.
Thanks, Kitty. Julie?
My pleasure coming at you from State Cambria. I'm sure the community was very happy to see us out in front of the park rallying a couple Fridays ago. We just like to be present and to let the community know that the project is very much alive and we're excited to be behind it. A couple of updates. We do have the Tony Hawk grant that gets ready to be resubmitted for March 31st. So that is a deadline that is right on top of us, but we will make it. It is for $25,000 and the purpose of the grant has been framed in to start beginning to fund the maintenance fund. So we don't know what the maintenance number is yet because it hasn't been determined by the district, but whatever that number is, we're willing to run towards it. So we've already, of course, generously received the first $5,000 from the Lions Club that was given to us a couple of years ago. So the $5,000 will be the initial start and we are now moving towards filling it. With that said, we've also taken in another $7,000 from private funds that came in over the last month and a half. So those were unexpected dollars to be added to all of the donations. And we have, of course, participation coming up in what is the biggest, it's called the Central Coast Monster Skate Series. It starts April 4th and goes through May 18th. It's at all our skate parks through the Central Coast. Napomo is included this time because they are the most current new skate park that's been added to the circuit. And of course, our park will get added in as soon as we have a park. We did participate last year. We have kids that are participating in this series. And the other big event taking place is Skate Safari, and we will also be participating, some of our kids in that very well attended event. On top of that, we are getting ready to finish up with the county in April, and that will be moving towards permit. And we're in good shape. We're in really good shape. Happy to answer any questions. Pine Dorado is also coming. I don't know if you'll see State Cambria in the actual parade this year, but you will see us on the sidelines. We're just trying to reserve our energy because we're ready to put a shovel in the ground. Thank you.
Fantastic questions.
It's a lot. It is exciting. Park is coming.
Just so awesome to have momentum. Just
Thank you for the support.
And I don't see any hands up, so I will, it's time for consent agenda. This
Oh,
is,
skip right over it. Well,
Crosby, what did I skip over?
The first committee.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, yeah, I'm looking around the room. Apologies. Yes, okay, Forest Committee.
well, thank you for recognizing. We have no report at this time. I do have a comment which I'll make on agenda item 6B, the pros goals matrix. So, and everybody have a happy Easter.
Got it. Excellent. Well, that was easy. Even easier than the consent agenda, but okay, so we.
I move we approve the minutes of the last meeting.
And let me just pause. If were there any errors? Anyone saw?
Not that
Seeing none, so we have a motion.
I read them. I move that we approve.
We have a second with from Kermit. So, committee member Behringer has moved and Johansson seconded, so, yeah, make the rounds. Kermit? Aye. Good. Is there a voice roll call? Just.
Say aye.
Say aye or nay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the ayes have it, unanimous, the consent agenda is approved and that moves us to regular business, which is what we came here primarily for. The first topic, 6A, I don't have any intent of going deep into review of the strategic plan. I did want to mention that in the March 4th strategic planning session, the CCSD has established a vision, has not in the past had a vision statement. And it's, many people have heard the old expression, if you don't know where you're going, and your road will get you there. And of course, the mission is clear enough to deliver the services to the customers, but it's good to have the vision, which is to serve the community by delivering sustainable, cost-effective services while practicing environmental stewardship and preserving the unique charm and atmosphere that make Cambria special. And the significance of that is every time we, as a board, are looking to make a decision, and I think that we may be veering from that vision, I will bring that vision up, time and time again, this is what we're about. And the core values, and the sense is, this is what staff emphasizes, what their way they do business. And I had advocated that we add a core value, and so the one at the bottom of the list now is added is stewardship. So this is a new core value added just this month.
Yeah, no,
We
that's
strive to leave our infrastructure, community, and environment in better condition for future generations. Which I'll say is not something that always has been in the past.
Doesn't get any better even if you're over here.
I think when Tammy Rudolph was here, there was a vision statement, but
Cool.
from Jerry Gruber on, there wasn't, that I know.
So any questions or comments about like what went on with the strategic planning process, any of the elements? Then we will move on. 6B is the pros, goals, progress report. So I'll need to get to the okay, that's the thing. So the pros goals are each month, and Shannon has graciously volunteered to take the lead to keep this updated, and it's cool. I will hit the make it bigger. And as you recall, the goals that we established initially, some were enthusiastically supported by the board, others were not. And this is our next pass at updating those. So I'll just scroll down through this. Has everyone, in the committee had a chance to look at this and the wording and the revisions? Yes. Okay, so the expectation is that would be enthusiastic, yes, but so one of the designs here, and all credit is to Shannon on this. So over to the right of each of these goals is a list of the tasks. So as we, as a committee, go through this and you say, well, what are we doing, working towards the goal stated over on the left? We have, a list of the key tasks. So right now with the community park, restroom location, find the boundaries, the as-is map, write this PDF, but that's well, it's not 100% until it's by the board, but
That's actually good to know, because we won't put 100% or complete until it's been approved. So we can put 100% it's done, complete when it's been approved by the board.
I think so.
Approved.
Yeah, because I've learned before, like, we may think it's done, but I may be wrong. And working with landscape architect. She's got some ideas. We'll end up with a conceptual plan that has the components that would seem to be the most viable and likely to be used. We'll bring that to the committee for discussion. And following that, the intent is some community engagement. And yeah, Shannon and Jeff, you want to comment on your vision for that kind of nature of the engagement? Because it sounds pretty exciting.
You mean,
Like some of the thoughts on how we do the engagements.
So, I mean, our goal is to build out a map using all the projects that we've identified as working, projects that can be viable for the map. And so the idea is to post the map in here, nice and big, with a lot of images and, when we have it, a complete plan for each one of the projects to show the community so that they can come in here, comment on it, see it, ask questions about it. And then we can go back to the drawing board if we get any feedback that changes our mind on any of the projects. And then, so we have community input, we have a chance to discuss everything, chance to show off the ideas, that kind of stuff.
Thanks. And we're not kidding ourselves. We know that having an updated plan isn't magic pixie dust. It doesn't cause it to happen, but we've heard that having your plan together, having a good story and having executable plans makes it a lot easier to get grant funding. And that's where we want to get to. So that's one of these goals kind of filled out as an example. And for each of the responsible individuals for each of these, the expectation, the hope is that provide Shannon updates, all of the tasks, whatever you want to communicate to the public and to the committee, what's going on in each of these goals.
Yeah, probably the easiest way is just email me. You can see the matrix online, so you know what it is with a list of tasks and where you are on each one of those tasks.
And my hope is that, Shannon will get enough input that somewhere prior to each meeting, I get this posted. So, and one of my reasons for posting it on the internet is, Brown Act, can't share anything with all the committee that hasn't been to the public. Once I post it on the internet, on the website, fair game, then we can work it as a group. So rather than go through this line item, does anyone else, Jeff, you want to comment on anything on this? Comment, Leo, let's hear from the committee on each of these and then get your input, and then we'll go public comment, right?
yeah, so on the CCSD parcels, I think, my understanding is we're still trying to evaluate some of the language associated with that, particularly related to management plans associated with that goal, in addition to inventorying. And then the cross-functional collaborative group that would be with me and David to do that, including fire, utilities, and as probably appropriate, any particular member of the community. So I think we're still working through how that will come into sort of organization and building out what the tasks will need to provide. So emerging is probably the best way to put that.
Yeah. It's worth knowing this made the cut as one of the CCSD level goals, and as you expect, the general manager has the lead for it, engaging fire department, FNR, fire safety focus group
Yeah.
and pros, yeah, and utilities.
Right.
All right, Steve, on, county parks and rec, anything to share?
No, canceled.
Right, the meeting,
It was?
tonight got canceled.
No.
Tomorrow night, yeah. Yeah.
No, like I think they only meet 6 times a year. I bet half those meetings are canceled. So,
Yeah, Rodeo Grounds Road, you know, FYI, because the board is, Tom Gray mentioned sometime last month that, he intends to bring a resolution to the board advocating the county get this road paved.
Okay, I'll reach out to him and just see if I can help support it in any way. And I noticed that it's listed on the trails list also. So,
This one's everywhere.
yeah, this one's everywhere. It's on everybody's radar.
Yeah, so, reach right out to Tom, he'll probably appreciate the wording. And these are all in the projects list, so perhaps rather than discuss them here, we hit them when we get to the projects list. Great, right, Kermit?
No,
Yeah.
good enough.
So I'm gonna take public comment now and, from the room.
Laura had her hand up.
Yeah, I know, thank you.
If you prefer to start there.
Yeah, I would, so Laura, okay, Laura and Crosby, go ahead.
Okay, we're muted there. Thank you. This is Crosby. I just have, excuse me, I just have a comment about the wording for the CCSD owned undeveloped properties item and what the pros committee hopes to achieve in 2024. I'm quoting now, it says, review open space management plans presented by staff and advise the board regarding the robustness of those plans. I don't think the staff is planning to work in a vacuum here. As Jeff mentioned, there's some complexity depending on whether these properties are restricted by a conservation easement, and I'm sure on the Fiscalini Ranch Preserve, the FFRP would have some input. The way it's worded here makes it sound like the staff is going to do this all on their own and then present it to you, which is probably not the case. That's my comment. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, they will be open space management plans. They will be, like, of necessity, they'll be authored by staff. And in the strategic plan, the list of people to involve, and needs to be at least this broad, but, the GM, fire chief, F&R, fire safe focus group, pros committee, and there will be public input into that as well.
Can I have a suggestion, please?
Yeah. Revise
I
that.
agree with his statement, as presented by staff, review open space. Review and suggest open space management plans to advise the board regarding, about plans, or to suggest and present to the staff plans generated by whomever. But I would say, I would agree, advise, where we presented by staff is really kind of
Wasn't that what-
presented.
back with,
What
though?
we need to get in here is where it's, in other words,
It's
we're
just
actively
wordsmith.
engaged in the development of them.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you'll take that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and we know, where in, so kind of look for 1:05 PM in the recording. And go,
So we write it and send it to me?
yeah, Julie.
So,
Oh,
you mind, we're advising the board on the robustness of staff's plan. That sounds like we're reviewing staff. We shouldn't review staff. I don't understand that. Help me understand why we're doing that. Advising the board directly about staff, when in fact the general manager is in charge of everything. I just thought
Well, we did just change that, I think. That's what we just talked about, right?
We shouldn't be going directly to the board criticizing or making a judgment about staff.
Right, and acknowledging that you previously suggested that this committee should be disbanded and Parks and Rec should be turned back to the county. I think this is, yeah, the question here is, does the pros committee have any business being involved in this in the first place? But I think the intent is that the pros committee be involved with the development of these plans, and as these plans are presented, first step, just like when the draft budget is first presented, it comes to the finance committee for review. Finance committee weighs in on the financial budget, then it goes with revisions to the board. This is open space, so the open space management plans would come to this committee, because this committee is responsible for O and S, open space. So then it would, from there, go to the board. I think that's the intent here, and it certainly is within the purview of this committee.
Yes.
The general manager presents
Yeah,
a budget to the board. The board either approves it or disapproves it, but the general manager takes it, not some committee. I'm just sorry, that's just not the.
Okay, so
The board does two things. They hire the general manager and they approve a contract. They don't make a contract, and they approve a budget. They don't make the contract. The chairman, the general manager presents the budget to the board.
I'm gonna hit the pause button, so.
Hit the pause button.
This topic isn't to discuss and determine the nature of governance that the CCSD is going to have. So you disagree with the nature of governance? That's a subject beyond the current agenda item. So let's, I'm gonna move back to public comment on these goals and objectives. Julie?
Yeah, I just, to this matrix, I think it would be really, this is just a suggestion, that this be provided to Supervisor Gibson's office. I've been tuning into all the NCAC meetings. Supervisor Gibson's on there every month talking about how important it is to have our projects on the board. Whatever that board is, I don't know what the magical board is, but I do know that pressure coming from every angle tends to get something on a board.
Mhm.
So I think the more that we can have organized thought like this and have it being delivered to his office, it gives us at least a narrative to say that we're taking this seriously and we need you to take it seriously. And that goes all the way into transportation and street issues we have right now with repair, maintenance that is desperately needed all over this community that's being overlooked. But this at least gets into an organized thought, so.
Thanks. And this is, I'm glad you're here because topic 6C is going to take this to the next level.
So this can then be provided,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's on our website right
Yeah,
now.
on the website.
Yeah, but they're not gonna check the website. I think this is
No,
an
exactly.
absolute dialogue
We
that
need to
needs to
direct
be
them.
taking place.
Yeah, this is important.
Just a suggestion.
Other, yes,
And Cosby?
Can you still hear me?
yes.
Okay, well, nobody, we had our hand up and I didn't know to break in or whatever. This is back on this is Laura Schwartz, and this is on the undeveloped lots. I think it's very appropriate that the pros committee weighs in on this. I think it should be very important before you do anything with these undeveloped lots, that you reach out seriously to the Slow Land Conservancy, who gave them to CCSD through the California Coastal Conservancy. They have a definite purpose. And before you start rearranging the purpose of these lots, I think you really need to check into that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm not going to say it's the first time I've heard that, but please keep saying that. And please, keep on that because this is essential.
I've been saying that through 3 general managers.
Yeah. We're listening. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, and having, putting the part, the goals up on the screen, then I don't see the, so are, any other comments? Okay, Dennis.
This covers a lot of ground, but I'll try to keep it as focused as I can. What I see that's missing from the goals statement is anything related to maintenance. And if you ignore maintenance and you say, well, the maintenance just runs itself. We just do what we're supposed to do. We follow the master, we don't do anything to get in the way of the master EIR requirements. We take care of the fire protection and we do all those things. You're headed to where we are right now, and that's been going on for a long time. To be more specific, there's a lot of discussion of fire risk and managing the Fiscalini Ranch to protect against fire risk. But what we're not talking about, and Michael, you and I have had this conversation, and I've had this conversation with all the board members, we're not dealing with flood risk. And there is a very close connection between maintenance practices and flood risk. For example, on the east side of Fiscalini Ranch, along the south side of Santa Rosa Creek, whenever a tree needs to be cut down or falls, which has happened over decades and decades, this has been going on, along the bank or along the maintenance road, on the edge of the maintenance road, anything greater than 12 inches or so that falls, the fire department says you can leave that, it's not a fire hazard. So they've been laying down along the creek bed year after year after year after year. And what's been created is a barrier on the south, above the south bank, preventing water from flowing into the flood basin when the waters get high, exacerbating the flood risk for the folks on the north side of the creek. And that's been evidenced by what's been going on. Anybody who goes out there, you can see it. It's been going on so long that these areas are overgrown with brush now. They look like berms that have been built there to stop the water from flowing south. And so this has to be addressed. It's obviously going to cost some money. And this is another example of a connection here between the county discussions. So you're talking to the county about finding grant money. Here's an opportunity to go to the county and say, we've been following these practices for decades, and unfortunately, it's time to do some remedial action. It's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to clear that out. There's a lot of environmental review that will have to go along, so it'll have to be done in an environmentally acceptable way. But those things need to be considered. The 1994 PROS master plan.
Can we hit pause? I think it's kind of like the.
Have I spread too far here?
Oh, the 3-minute limit. And primarily, we're talking about a county responsibility, but this will come right back up on topic 6C.
All right.
But, well done, but,
And I also want to add that we would love to have maintenance included in our goals, but we took some of it out because that wasn't really our purview, so
yeah.
we limited our goals. So we are, the board, we're constantly focused on maintenance.
Yeah, however, the scope of the purview of these, PROS as a committee is, to recommend to the board plans for increasing the parks, recreation, and open space opportunities to the board. And nowhere in there is there responsibility for direct maintenance. So that is something I think I would encourage you to bring that to the board and to FNR. No, but of course, then FNR is going to say, but we don't own the creek bed. That's county, but that's sort of the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, we're not talking about the creek bed, to be clear. It's the bank, not the bed.
Okay. And okay, so with that, I think we're going to move on to the next agenda topic. Is there, Jeff, you had wanted to say? Okay. I think that's as far as we're going to take this. Now, the next, going in order, I'm gonna suggest that we take topic 6D next. My friends from Cambria Rotary are here. And
Great.
so let's have that conversation. And, and just my, who's not gonna love a peace garden, but, we have, in the agenda packet, let me pull this up and then, and you'd mentioned you had someone that, I think, that was gonna zoom in, but,
Oh, Bob Cassidy,
yeah, Bob's gonna zoom in, but
he's driving to Pasadena, so we want to see if he can zoom in, but.
He's there.
Yeah, that's going.
I see him up there right now. Bob's up there.
oh, here he is. Okay, great.
He's green.
Great. Yeah, if there were,
Have any words?
now, how do I get to? I'm trying to get to the presentation that has your. Okay, your pictures are here.
ASPER.
And. Okay. This is the start of it. So,
Four.
did you want, go ahead and.
Yeah,
introduce it?
Michael, Jerry Porter. I would like to make a point that, the garden as it exists has been there for decades. There's a tree that I'm not sure what year it was planted by, it was for Make-A-Wish Foundation, it was Baha'i. And it's got a plaque out there, and this tree is probably decades old.
Yeah, as in
More recently.
these two plaques, they're right out here.
That one is by the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then more recently, through an effort, a combined effort with Rotary and American Legion, you see on the right, the Rotary Peace Through Service Garden. Just kind of identifying that in Cambria, we have an existing peace garden. Now, by the Peace Bowl, the concept that we have now is just in addition to the garden where we would like to add peace pickets that are actually painted by our high school art school.
They're around town.
And you may see them around town. They're in front of many businesses. Now we want to expand it adjacent to the existing Peace Bowl.
And what I understand of this is, someone with clever graphic skills has taken the picture and,
Overlaid it, yeah.
yeah, that's what this is, right?
Yes, that's what that is.
So we can get an envision of what it looked like.
Nancy McCartney has done that for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but there's also not photos, but drawings of how it would be constructed. And that would be by Brian Morrow. And Suzette Morrow, his wife, is the art teacher. And so it's the students' interpretation of peace for them. And so they are all over town, and there's also little plaques every so often explaining that it's the high school students, co-student and high school students, and their interpretation of peace on the peace bowls. So what we want is to put some on either side of the existing peace bowl. And Brian Morrow showed how he can do a fence, 2 panels, and on the ends would be metal, so it could go into the ground and make sure that it's sturdy enough to be there.
And it would be removable. We could take that section, move it to a different part of town, perhaps, in front of a business. And then the next year, students would do their pickets, and we would add not add another section, but it would replace the section.
Wow. So every graduating class would leave with some sense of having contributed to this.
In fact, some of the students are still saying, I can't find where my picket is, and they're looking all over town. trying to find, because they're so proud of them.
Right, I'd like to just add
Yes.
too, there is a lesson plan that the art teacher Suzette does with them,
Mm-hmm.
starting from self to family, school, community, state and country, what, it's all they had psychologists come in and speak to them about resolution, conflict and resolution. So they have a lesson plan that goes along with it every year that inspires them to say what peace means to them. And so far, if you've looked at like Mimosas and the ice cream store in West Village, the places that have fencing, it really looks the best. And we think we could do much better than the Peace Garden we have now.
Cool. I've seen a few of these and then I don't, I was
The
wondering.
kids do a
Yeah,
beautiful
they write
job.
poetry on them sometimes.
Questions?
Are those pickets that are in front of businesses going to be consolidated and actually removed from the businesses and put
No.
there? Or is this an additional, whole
The
additional?
ones that they are doing this year.
So they're gonna be there forever, and now more and more students are gonna put more and more out.
Well, we're
Yes.
hoping for Cambria to be a peace building community. And so I think supporting the students is, amazing because they're really putting their hearts into it and doing an amazing job. If we change the project because they no longer want to do the pickets, we'll be doing something else. It may not be forever, but we hope to keep the ones and take care of the ones that we have. But right now, we would like to have.
Yeah, and the consideration here is whether this committee would recommend or not to the board that this plan be executed now. What happens next year and the year after? We'll be hearing from you again.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's an annual plan. This is an annual event and it disappears annually.
No, it doesn't
No, it doesn't,
disappear.
it never disappears the way I'm.
It's permanent.
These same
Uh,
kids will always.
Well, there's always gonna be a different class, so next year there'll be new students.
Okay,
But we're not
maybe 5
sure
minutes.
if the,
all right, but you're not going to be 3,000 pickets.
Oh,
no,
no,
in 10
no,
years.
only on that area, only.
It's like 20 pickets,
20
about
pickets.
10 on each side.
Those sections are removable, and as I mentioned previously, the pickets from this year could be removed. That
Put it
section be
somewhere
placed
else.
somewhere else in town, or in front of someone's home, if what they chose. And then the new students would build their picket, make their pickets, and the section would replace that one.
So it's a changing exhibition.
Yeah.
But you're still gonna keep the pickets in front of the businesses all the time.
Yes.
If they want them, the businesses, there have been a
Oh,
few businesses that said, okay, we'd like to change, but we're gonna put them back up. For example, Limbs, they put theirs up when and then they have a holiday, they redecorate, they put the tickets back in. Most of the businesses really like them. And, they're kind of beautiful, like in front of Robbins, they have a beautiful display and we go down that street, that side street. We've got, we also have families that want them in their yard, so there's many places they can go.
But this is such a central part of town.
Yeah.
With a peace pole already there, and it's peace on earth written in different languages all around the peace pole. And this would just add to that, and actually make it more visible to the community and to visitors in our town.
Yeah, personally, I love the proximity of honoring our troops.
Right.
All we have here, honoring our troops and honoring the mission of peace side by side. I mean, that's powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. Other questions and comments?
What do you need from us?
Oh, so the operative question is, does the pros committee
They are.
recommend that the board
You
Just
making the motion?
into regards to everybody's philosophy on governance and my iconoclastic nature in general, I'm just like, I'm not sure you guys want our approval, because the things we approve fail a lot.
It could take 3 years to get it installed.
So, but in the serious nature, I'm like, this is not even under our purview. This is not our project. What are we bringing? Right?
It's open
They, I
space.
believe, hold on, my feeling is in regards to your description, they should bring this project to the CCSD board, then the CCSD board should ask us what our advice is, because we're an advisory committee, purely an advisory committee. So if someone, we need to be, right, because our goals they didn't like. I'm just saying, is this the correct process for this?
In my apologies, your two statements, they did and he did, right? So this group has gone to the general manager and the general manager asked me to put this on pros committee agenda.
Okay, cool.
So I
Okay.
I did
Gotcha.
not.
All right, that-
Gotcha. That makes a lot more
That I will
sense.
buy.
Yeah.
So can I make a
Thank
motion?
you.
You
That-
got the motion.
Can I make a motion that the pros committee recommends the Peace Picket project move forward and be presented to the CCSD for approval?
I said,
So we have a motion, in a second. All right.
Aye.
I,
No,
So we have, four in favor,
the
and.
general manager should,
I'm
it's the general
thrilled that
manager.
they came to us and that
I
we
am
got to
too.
see a
Yeah, I
project
am
and
too.
recommend it
I'm-
to CCSD.
it is no disregard to them. It's
Right,
more to us and our little we got going here, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm for peace. I hate war.
Mike, we received an email this morning from Haley telling us that we are on the docket, the agenda for April 11th.
Outstanding.
Great.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what should happen.
So, with
So you
our,
can hear from you or not.
with our wholehearted endorsement.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Exactly, yeah.
I agree. And I would vote aye for the endorsement. Yeah. But it's on the agenda, not because of us, it's because the general manager said, hey.
So do you want
Good idea.
your vote on record, it's currently your vote on record is to
I'll
vote
say
against,
I'll change, no, I'll change.
you prefer it to be for? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, you with that?
Yeah, I changed, I changed it on aye. Instead of an ear.
Do we have a different motion?
Yeah.
No, the motion was to send it out, so.
Excellent, and I'm going to, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And, yeah, I'm gonna, mention to Matt McElhaney is next door as we go into agenda topic 6C.
6C.
No, so this is an opportunity for, yeah, let's take a quick 5 minute.
5 minutes.
Right.
5 minutes. Up to you. You're gonna be
Sorry, getting her.
Yeah, I'll-
Thank you.
Yeah, let's take 5.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
these two,
Yeah, he
I changed
he didn't want to be a curmudgeon.
That makes
No, but I agree with you. It's not a-
Yeah.
So I'm going to, I'm going to stop the.
I'm watching your.
Oh,
specials, Tony. I see
Yeah,
you
see
over
my-
there.
Well, thanks for the. on mute so I don't forget. And then this is up.
I skipped.
Oh, yeah, I see all this. The CCSC doesn't have land use authority, so this is one way of saying informational. You know, we should work hard to get the county to do this.
Well, it's, you get money for a project, they are interested. So that's what they're offering, is the 6% sales or 1% sales, with half sales tax. We get money, we give it to them, so they can build the project. So these things are sweeteners, they're putting it
Some colors and fonts.
on the billboard. For sweeteners to it, for, local communities to think it's a good idea to vote for the issue. But when
Yeah,
it
they
goes
did
back,
without
when
us.
it's done, it still falls back into a list. And they're gonna ask you to compete with money. So that's how the future runs also is. We request projects from them and they say, well, these are priorities. These can go on the 5-year development plan that's suggested. Request both. And they will decide, yes, that's a good idea or not, based on how much money they have, what they.
But they're not gonna give the money to the CCSD.
No, not at all. It's all county work.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so I checked in with our general manager. He's, you just can't break up a conversation once it's engaged, because there's a couple of members of the public that have been, engaged in a conversation, so he'll be joining us shortly. And,
Okay.
and you're right.
There's
That's
a
good.
few colors. There's like a brown.
So
So we're just gonna go over this, or
we are going to kick this off.
go for it, or whatever you say.
Just came down from. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Typical. Yeah, I mean, oh, this is.
Well, I
Okay.
make a motion to approve it then.
I
I'll
love the idea.
second.
I'm all for it too. If there's not much we need to discuss, yes.
Okay, so, so I think what I'm hearing is that the stuff that is on this list, you've seen it.
Looks good.
And
100%.
And at least a heck yes, perhaps more emphatically, we need to advocate this stuff. And do we have the right things at the top? Because
Rodeo Grounds Road first is number one.
I thought so.
Yeah. The stairs at Lambton Cliffs confuses me because that is a county park.
Yeah, I know.
Why is that
Why
something
is-
we have to even deal with?
Who put that on there?
That
They
is
didn't?
not, that is a county park.
That's a county park. It's like us doing anything at Shamel. We can't do anything at
Well,
Shamel.
the Rodeo Grounds is county.
It's a
property.
county road, absolutely,
All of these
but,
things are owned by the county and we want them to do something about
okay.
Jeff and I had some really good
Then we
ideas
have
about
the pool.
bartering and trading.
the pool.
And we won't go
Yeah,
into that right now.
the pool at Shamel Park needs to be maintained and fixed. I mean, it's leaking, it's got all sorts of issues, and they won't even, they've already said that they're not gonna do anything to it.
But I think that's the concept here is what I'm hearing is support for what's on the list.
Right.
And what needs to be added to the list is next. So Hermit and then Steve. Hermit.
Well, I was gonna say, it depends on the project that you're currently aiming for. If you're talking about the tag, the sales tax, trying to capture that as a proposal, just to get embedded in there, as well as the traditional 5-year plan. For construction money for roads and public safety, that's the priority of slow cog and the 1 cent sales tax. Well, the 1 cent sales tax. The stairway to Lambton Park is a different capital improvement fund.
Okay.
So you put them into different piles for different piles of money moving through.
And none of this is how we're getting, how the county's gonna pay for it. This is simply, there's a common theme here, but we've heard it a million times. There's a sense that expectation that so much money goes from tourism to the county and darn it, let's
not getting-
get our money's worth back. And what, and we can have 1,000 people, you know, randomly communicating their needs, but if Cambria speaks with one voice from many directions, we're likely to get more leverage. Taking a lesson from Julie and skate park,
Exactly what I
right?
said.
So this is like, what's our number one, right? What's our number two? Let's press, let's work together. Everyone who talks to anyone from the county, like, what are we gonna emphasize? But that's.
So then I would just argue that number two not be the stairs at Lambton.
Okay.
I'd rather see public safety and, you know, access around town versus stairs down the beach.
Okay,
Especially since that's their county park, they should be able to tackle that on their own.
And even as of this morning, they're already working on that. They've got $500,000, $1 million budget for it. So they're on this,
On the Lambton.
the Lambton.
And it's more of a maintenance thing than.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we can.
So I'm only suggesting that because it, like, if you're saying targeting our list,
yeah,
then that is watering it down as far as I'm concerned.
okay.
The only thing I can say there is if there is opportunity to say, hey, don't spend your money on Lambton Cliffs, you got $1 billion. We think the greater public benefit is over here, then I don't know whether we have the ability to have that conversation with them about that. And there are obviously pretty significant voices in the Marine Terrace area that utilize Lambton Park. Now, I don't know whether it's the highest and best use of money, county money for us, and how that factors in to this discussion.
Okay, I move that we take item number 2.
We're not ready for a motion.
Okay.
We're in discussion and we're not ready for a motion. But bring.
And it'll get complicated.
I will continue a little more. The 1 cent sale or the half-cent sales tax, they're looking for specific projects. That was just to advertise their wares. And if you get on that sled, I think they might carry it through. But it'll be our choice. But the other issue is the facilities and infrastructure, 5-year plan each year that's put out by the county. They have different categories in there. But the stuff that comes through SLOCOG, there's a lot more money coming in for highways and road and public improvements and public safety than there is for the recreation sites. And there are recreation sites in here. Our recreation share this year is for $100,000 gazebo plan, replacement and some bathroom improvements. And our facilities are a road improvement fund. We're getting $2 million to repair Santa Rosa Creek Road. I don't know, that's.
That'll repair one section, tiny little spot.
Well, yeah, so it's one of those things like, I didn't know that was in Cambria anyway, but they say it is because that's our road. So, but otherwise that $2 million could come back to the city. But we've never participated in trying to get projects in there. So that this list is there. The Lambton Park is pertinent to this, but it's not to the half-cent sale tax, which is the hot burner now.
And I'm interested in a couple of things, because I don't know how to pull this together. It's like, how do we get a sense of the entire community? We can all gather up and everyone had their little dots and like, what would be the most important thing? What would rise to the top? Right? Open for ideas on how to do that better. We'll get maybe a dozen people involved through this. You know, at the
Well, I
same
would
time,
bring
5
this
of
to the
you know a
school
lot.
district as well, because safe passages to school, the 3 most dangerous places to walk in our town, bar none, are to our school sites.
Yeah.
We'll bring it to the school board and ask them what they think about this list as well.
Mhm.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, Julie.
Well, I think this kind of also to Shannon's point, this NCAC is falling all within this, so.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't, the concern that I would have on this is that how far do you go away from, what are you defining as open space and that's responsibilities? In other words, I'm getting a little nervous that this is too much to bite off. Knowing that, I don't know, we'd like to see new things done. And so, in other words, is this better supported through NCAC? Because their goal really is more related to transportation and roadways, and I don't know, I'm just.
I definitely think you're right, yeah, and,
I think-
but this is one kicking point to kick this from this group to NCAC, and I like the idea of the school board being responsible,
do too.
because I've had several conversations on safe to school, and they just ignore it, they mean transportation. But,
And while we have a moment with, because Matt has a lot of demands,
Right.
yeah, as it's meet the GM day. So, Matt, why did you want us to weigh in on this and bring something to you?
So we talked about, this, right, these long range goals that are kind of out of the CCSD purview.
Right.
But the community's passionate about and trying to work with NCAC and some of the political pressure with Bruce Gibson and talking to Blake. And so when I talked to, Director Thomas about it, I thought that perhaps I could take your work here and your vision moving forward, and then you can give it to me, and then I can work with Bruce and Blake. And I know Pete Rogers at Slowcog, who's a long time, friend of mine, and we've been playing basketball together for 20+ years. And I can talk with him about their bond they're trying to pass, and if it gets passed, where we'd like to see those funds dedicated, and then the facilities and infrastructure, development plan. Work with the county on things that we'd like to see done in Cambria. And so I can take your work and say, this is what we're looking for. And there's, they have money set aside, and if they have money set aside, it's more broad, it's not really labeled. So if we can put these projects in their ear, and this is what we're looking for in Cambria, that I thought that might be better for me to politic with them, rather than pros focusing on, obviously when you went to the board had a different direction they would like you to focus on in terms of long range goals for pros. So that doesn't mean that this has to die, but I can work on it in the background politically. So that was my thought.
In the game of tug of war, right? It's like, okay, you're the team captain on the north side, in the game of tug of war. And you're not gonna pick one person. Say, okay, we're just gonna have one person on our side. There's 20 people on the other side, but we're just gonna pick, in other words, yes, we want NCAC on our side, pulling on this rope. We want CCSC general manager pulling on this rope. You think about the influence model. Anyone and everyone who has the ability to influence the county, working together, get them all on the same side of the rope to pull something our way. That's
Then you should
my
include
mentality.
CTV and
Yeah.
Cambria Tourism should be involved in that, because they are worried about heads and beds. And, I get that, but they're also, those heads and beds are putting tremendous wear and tear on this community. So,
And any ideas from everyone here on, like, this is a starter list. That's why I wanted to put a pause button on motioning this list. I put this together based on everything I've heard so far. I don't think this list is done, just this like the first pass. And what does everybody think belongs in this list, and how do we get there?
So obviously, like, I would even say that the community is hyper focused on our roads. Our roads are in terrible shape
Yeah.
across our whole, town. And also because what happens is that the county, they subcontract out for road pavement to third-party companies that come in, and in order to make more money, they've made our roads more and more and more narrow over the years. So one of the reasons we have no safe walkways, we have no way to get around town. So that those are the two things, as far as I'm concerned, safe passage around town in multiple ways, and our roads. Those two things are huge right now.
And all of these things, you know, that the Kermit has in there are about that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's why I think it's
Yeah.
brilliant what, you know, Kermit has put together.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Kermit has put a very good.
And I like how focused it is too.
Yeah.
So two comments, one is on process, one's on content. On the process, if I understand Matt right, and hearing what I think we've been hearing come through loud and clear in a number of different venues is we as a community need a stronger, more engaged relationship with the county directly.
Yes.
So I completely believe that. And I'll be honest, I don't really know enough about NCAC. But all I know is that I'm not sure we've gotten a whole lot done through NCAC as an indirect route to the county. My belief is we should focus on the community, CCSD, and the resources that we have to marshal those relationships and build action. And Matt, that's what I thought I heard you say. If I didn't, correct me if I'm wrong. But to your tug of war, you know, I think we need a lead. The guy's the first one on the rope, you know, or the coxswain or whatever, like, hey, we're all rowing, but man, you're leading the charge and you're kind of the focal point for communicating what we need to communicate. To the content, you know, I mean, what specifically we include, you know, that can get tricky, but it feels like to me through the governance and communication mechanisms that we've got, we could take that list and somehow develop an inventory of projects and build a set of priorities. Maybe we do high priority, medium priority, low priority, and high priority is, I don't know, sometime within the next 2 years or some, I don't know. I'm just thinking high priority is let's get this done in 2 years or a year or something. And then we've got second tier, but we have a longer range plan that's not super complicated, but we're all rowing in the same direction. Matt, you're the coxswain telling us, you know, how we can help. And if we've got NCAC to add to that, great. But I don't feel like trying to drive our interests through NCAC has been productive. And I think we stand a much better chance of getting stuff done as if we build, like for us, you know, Parks and Recreation, right? I mean, why would we go to NCAC for Parks and Recreation? Let's just go to Parks and Recreation, Steve and me and whoever else in here, and we'll talk directly to the county. So that's my.
Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to sum up is
Yeah.
if you give me your vision moving forward, I have something to go to.
Yeah.
To Blake and Bruce and say, okay, look, you know, I know you got some money coming up. It doesn't look like you have it earmarked for anything. This is what we're looking at. So for instance,
yeah,
next meeting, the 11th or the 18th, we're gonna be adopting a resolution saying that we would like the county to Rodeo Grounds Road.
Right.
You know, so we as the district are saying this and sending a little bit of a message. You know,
Yeah.
this is what we're looking for. And forward that to Blake. Now, it's gonna be tough. They're in a $20 million deficit, you know, so it's gonna be thin, but this is something that we can work on moving forward and that voice being heard now will echo in 2025 and 2026. And that's the hope. And then that way I can take your vision and lead it and then open this committee to focus on whether it be the community park master plan, disc golf, whatever it may be.
I was just gonna second Jeff's comments by saying I had presented some of this stuff to NCAC and some of the feedback I got back was we need some public meetings to determine the priorities. So I don't know what year they will come out with priorities. So I would suggest we might not worry about that.
I agree, but don't agree. And I think that this is a very good, very specific plan that we could turn over without adding a bunch of stuff to the general manager to take to Blake. At the same time, the NCAC meets every month. And every month, Bruce Gibson looks at those people and says, so this could go to the traffic committee and say, hey, we've done some research. Would you endorse this? And then they would say, Bruce, we like this too. And the school board could do the same. And the tourism board could do the same. Tourism board may not give any money, but I can put it on the agenda at the tourism board and they say, hey, this is a plan that's going through. Would you endorse the plan? And And then next year, or after a little while, if we wanted to be the bully pulpit where people from all over town could come to a pros committee meeting, maybe not with a pros agenda, by the way, but come to this room and they have a problem on a street in town or something, this group could host people coming in, adding projects for the future. That's kind of the way I'd approach it, you know? So it's 3 or 4 people saying the same thing at this starter list, and then have a structure where people could come together and ask for more stuff.
And this is well managed, informally. So Julie,
If you don't mind, I'm just gonna, to Kermit's credit.
Mhm.
This is what NCAC should be doing.
He is doing it.
See, he did, so just bring
His
it to the vote.
presentation on NCAC.
I've never seen a matrix like this at NCAC.
No.
I've never seen
He
Not
it.
as
never
good as this.
gets on the, he gets cut off the agenda
Yeah.
every single.
Well, who's in traffic? Who's the traffic guy?
Him.
Of the transportation.
He gets cut off the agenda because the meetings are
I've never
3-4
seen
hours
it.
long.
Well, that's ridiculous.
I've
It's at
never,
the end.
I could,
It's always,
Everyone is,
I'm
yes,
joining the
yeah,
NCAC.
that's why I'm
You
not.
could have by role.
it's
You
terrible.
could be the transportation.
There you go.
No, I'm the business.
Good
I'm the
job.
business.
I mean, this helps, again, I'm gonna say, what we're constantly hearing from Supervisor Gibson is we need to get on the board, whatever that board is. And it is coming from NCAC. He is on that meeting and he is saying it directly to those board members. Show me what you got. Doesn't mean it's gonna be next year, but it's gonna be at least on my radar. So
Well, good.
Kermit, you're saying that exact matrix has been given to NCAC?
I have given the last one, but all of the rest of them have been proposed, or at least advertised on their website, but they have I've never given a presentation on them, except one because of the lack of time we get to the end. I'm the next on the end, but it's usually, last time I said it was 9 o'clock and I said, 5 people left. I said, let's forget it, go for next time. Ann Bowski from the Slow Cog government is coming to make the presentation on the 1 cent sale tax Wednesday. And I want to be able to give this to her as part of
Great.
NCAC. However, NCAC last go around there was people going, we should have public meetings on this. And I was thinking, God, do what you want. And write me a letter how you can. But it's just something that will say.
Next point.
so I'm engaging public comment here. I've got a hand up. So let's hear from Christina Galloway.
Yes, Christina.
Hey guys, Christina here from NCAC. So I just want to first and foremost say a large part of why you are all having this conversation in this way today is because the NCAC was harassing the county about what we're getting back and how we can best get funds from the county. Kermit, I know that you're working really hard on this stuff, but I also feel like for whatever reason, up until now, or up until the past few months, we haven't been united as a community in engaging different groups like pros and NCAC and CCSD to get aligned. And so that's the past. Obviously, we're all having this discussion today, but I would just, it's unfortunate to hear that the thought is that this is something that can't be done with feedback from all groups and with all groups aligned working together. So I just feel like the judgment here just needs to be a thing of the past, and we just need to look at okay, so what's the best plan of action? Who has the most access to Gibson? Can NCAC take this agenda, push it to him? Can Matt take that agenda, push it to him? Can you guys, pros committee, take this agenda, push it? Just like Michael was saying, how do we work together to make this a thing that's good for the community instead of just kind of judging different groups for what, has or hasn't been done up until this point? So that's really kind of my takeaway right now. It's like, okay, fine, that's done. That's the past. Like, how do we move forward more effectively here?
I would have to say that I agree 100%. And I think it's more not that we're judging a group. I totally agree that we all need to come at it instead of just NCAC coming at it. That was the only thing I was saying.
Yeah, and one of my thoughts is that once we get alignment on, okay, here's a list we're gonna give to our general manager.
Right.
And with the expectation, then of course it has to come to the board, and the CCSD board is, has to push that forward. But once Matt has this list, then my next question to him will be, all right, so Matt, what's the engagement plan? What's your influence and engagement plan? And of the dozens of groups here in Cambria and of the dozens of entities at the county level, who's gonna be talking to who? And, with the expectation that, Matt, you're not gonna do all of this, can't possibly. He's got staff and it's like, I guess you mentioned the guy giving the orders in the vote, right? Give us orders, give us all assignments, like, let's have an aligned approach. And it'll still take a long time, but we eventually might get something done.
Well, in
Yeah.
this,
Oh, sorry.
sorry. I was just gonna say the list that we have right here, it doesn't have to be an exhaustive list. This is
Doesn't
just
be
for what
perfect.
Pros says we would like to see.
And
Right.
Matt has something in hand now that he can do something with
Yeah.
today, not 2 years from now, not coming up. And then
There's gonna
I-
be other lists generated from other groups, I would
but the
imagine.
board, I'm sorry to say, the board does not have anything to do with land use. Let Matt go and run with it, but don't put it on a board agenda, if you want, but you can't make the decision. And if we get enough people sending stuff to the county, to Bruce Gibson's office, including different boards, and then if NCAC says, well, we need more meetings, fine, let them have some meetings on priorities. And let us offer our good services as citizens, not a pros commission,
Okay, well,
where they can come and add more things to this. So we get more and more people going to ask something, but at least Kermit did a fantastic job of outlining the whole thing.
It's amazing.
And Jim,
Yeah, and-
just to clarify, the NCAC wasn't saying like, oh, we need more meetings so we can waste more time. Like, the idea was the feedback that I received from the county when advocating for the community in the Christmas market hearing was that sometimes the interpretation is that area councils and committees are not reflective of the larger public's views. So why NCAC wanted to engage and find ways to engage the public was so that we would, our feedback would be more credible when we're advocating for our community to the county. It wasn't like, oh, let's just have more meetings. It's like, who can we get everybody to meet? And if 10 people come to your meeting and 10 people come to our meeting, 10 people go to this other meeting, I can go back to the county, or NCAC or Kermit, you can go back to the county, or Matt can go back to the county and say, hey, look, like, we got your feedback. Not only did we organize, but we've had these meetings. This is what turnout looked like, and this is our plan. So I just, it's unfortunate to hear that the idea of determining that we need more public engagement to be taken seriously is landing as wanting to waste time and have more meetings.
Well said, and the fact that the planning committee told the NCSC that there weren't very many people here, right? So there's one question. So one question that just came up is, so if we agree on a list, does that then, is our action to take it to the board to give to you, or can we simply, refer this to you directly?
My opinion would just be give it to me, and I would say that this has been some community input that, these are some of the things we'd like to be done in town, unless you want to go before the board to have them draft further resolutions like the Rodeo Grounds Road. I don't see where, our current board action is.
Because this is a request from you, the general manager of the pros committee. And so we can simply give you this list.
It's just a recommendation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I mean, what I would do is just say, you know, from the CCSD perspective, when we talk about improvements to our district, that these are funded by county, these are county properties. I have no say in what they do, but we really would like to see rodeo grounds repaved, sidewalks, you know, these things. And I think pros is a voice of the community. So I'm taking that community voice, running it through the GM and going to the county.
Great.
I mean, the president's in the next room, so I can go ask him if he wants me to bring this before the board, but I think it's more of a thing where it's being communicated to me from the public. I'm just communicating some of the things that we'd like to see the county work on, you know, outside of what the board has already decided through this upcoming resolution.
Yeah, clear enough. Appreciate it.
My opinion.
Thanks.
So you don't find you're subverting your board by coming to us and asking what our goals are when we gave them goals and they rejected them?
Yeah, you do know that this is pros, right?
So I would just say that the board's vision, from what I heard, was we'd like to see the park master plan worked on and things like that. I'm saying that you guys do have a lot of work already completed, and that it might as well let me, the CCSD, run that work through the county rather than a subcommittee work on that.
I like you, Matt.
Yep, for the moment.
I've liked other past GMs too. All right, here we go.
That's the life of a GM. It's one day,
Yeah.
the blessing, most of the other one.
All right.
All right,
Yeah, thanks.
okay,
Yeah.
for now.
I can tell you, so I guess the awkward question is, right, I mean, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? And you suggested right off the bat, well, this is good enough, but there's some concerns.
I just want 2 taken off and I love the list.
Okay.
I wanted to get into, it hit me like a brick because I'm stupid, but these are the things we should be taking to the county
Yes.
board is Lambton Park and Shamel Park. We should be hammering them on those things every time, even though we don't really look at them as our responsibility, but that is something, and we can open the
Yeah,
conversation
so
that
when we
way.
do the county parks and rec and saying, hey, Shamwell needs some work.
Yeah,
Hello.
hello, where are we? Yeah, and they're gonna probably say back, hey, we gave you the playground, so but that's good for the conversation.
Right.
We'll know how much it cost us, we'll know that they funded it, blah, blah, blah.
So you say, take it off this list.
Yeah,
They raise the money.
It stays in our focus to pressure.
Lambton Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can, yes, because we got our Steve
Okay.
going to the county meeting and that's where that is appropriate. So just remove that and submit this to Matt as
I
is.
agree. Or at
Okay.
least,
That,
I say, why take the time to reprint? But.
that sounds like a motion.
It is, okay,
Yeah, I don't think-
officially is a motion.
So, yeah.
I say we give it to Matt and don't even make a motion, just give it to him. I mean, it's.
Yeah, do we need a
I don't
motion?
think we need a motion, do we?
Yeah.
I'll
So-
move that we give this to Matt. Second.
And, and we've, and Shannon had already suggested that we remove 2.
Is Christina still on?
Yeah.
Great, okay.
Yeah, had already suggested that we remove item 2 because it's not the level that we want Matt pushing.
Mhm.
Amended, as moved, or as,
You're okay with that?
yeah, take out number 2.
Yeah.
Great. Second.
How, and, before you vote, some comments,
I
Julie?
didn't know if you were gonna take a motion on that, so I'm working with it. I just lost my train of thought. It'll come to me.
Oh, that's good, you don't
I
do
know,
that very
I know.
often. Whoa.
Never seen-
Never say never. Christina, I know is still on the line, and I just want to say in no way, I think that we do need to work together. That is the point. It's not to put NCAC in a bad light. It's that we keep hearing these things over and over and over again about how they need to be brought to Supervisor Gibson. So the other thing that I would like to have answered is in regards to the community, because I know several community members right now that are very concerned over streets in this, especially up in the Pine Hills area.
I know, yeah, that's
Because
huge.
that is, a safety issue for fire trucks and everything else getting up and down. So how would you, as a group, like the community to come to you with additional projects that would be considered?
I think it goes directly to Matt. We're making our recommendations.
I think as a future agenda item on this, we should not necessarily push it off, but have on the agenda how we're going to engage and advertise the fact that we're engaging community input on roads within Cambria.
Well said,
That's-
Jim. I mean, just how do you expect the community to engage with you? Because
No, right.
I know there's many community members who feel very lost in the process of even feeling comfortable to come to any one of these types of meetings. So it would be very helpful for them to have a safety net to know, oh, if I have a concern, then here's where I need to be bringing it because it's proactively getting onto the list. That making sense?
A couple of things, we have, and we're gonna get comment, because it looks like Christina and Laura also, both, and Crosby want to comment, but also I wanted to mention that, I tried to keep this as much as possible within the scope of pros, right? So notice what's on here, pedestrian pathways, right? You look at the pros master plan, pedestrian pathways, trails, right? So it's, roads that cars drive on, doesn't really sound like, I mean, Burton Drive, yeah, that's access to our community park. But, when I look at
Rodeo Grounds Drive.
Rodeo Grounds Road, not sure what I said, but like Pine Knolls, it doesn't really feel like it's within pro scope.
I agree.
If you,
So don't put it on the agenda, but announce to people that we're gonna be here on such and such a date, and you don't have to come, or you can run it. But it doesn't have to be a pros, it could be a citizens committee that we happen to be part of. And Christina probably would say the same, is that if we announce the fact that NCAC is here trying to get input from the community on what we should stress to the county, I think it would be, we'd be working together, but in two different venues. And if the school board could say something about what they want to say to school, and those items are there. So all of those things will be members of, on the end of a rope, more members will
Yeah.
get more done.
yeah, let's hear from the Schwartzes, and then Christina, if you had more to say, but Crosby and Laura.
Okay, I'm back again. The thing is, again, this is Laura, my personal opinion, the more direction that we can come to the county from every different direction responsibly is a good way to do it. NCAC, we used to go a long time ago. I think at this point they have some new board members that are probably going to be quite effective. Maybe we should take that into consideration. The other thing is, when you're dealing with the county, in the purview of the pros committee, there is the responsibility of taking care and cleaning up after the homeless. And somehow we really need to get to the county on that, either give us more protection so the homeless don't make huge piles quickly, catch it before it starts. That is in the purview of the pros. And we shouldn't lose sight of the fact to go after the financing of cleaning up after the homeless. Thank you. Done. Thank you, I'm
Thanks.
done.
Thanks. And Christina, did you have more, or is your hand still up?
Oh, sorry. I'm technologically challenged. No, but thank you. Julie, I agree with you. I know a lot of people that don't, feel comfortable going to the meetings either. And, so, traditionally, what I've been told is that just to have, in terms of NCAC, for people to email, the email at ncacslow.org. But I think because of the urgency, and because of the importance of what we're talking about, let me go back to them and try to figure out, maybe there's some other funnel. And I think we all probably, just need to figure out the best way for the near future to kind of share the information that's coming our way. And I know those meetings can be long, so I know people probably don't, want to sit through a 3-hour NCAC meeting. But if anybody wants to work together and we can figure that out here over the next week or so, you know, I'm open to doing that, but thank you guys for listening and considering in your time.
Thank you, Christina.
Christina, would you advocate getting back to in-person meetings at the bank?
100%.
I mean, the Zoom thing is just, it's hard to control and people will drop off. It used to be at the bank. I don't know if you were there involved then,
Well
but
attended, it needs to go back to.
it needs to go back to someplace, physical, in my opinion.
NCAC.
NCAC, yeah.
Okay.
All right. John.
Okay, I'm gonna be a bit of a downer on this. The county, I don't think is paying any attention to what is going on. I'm not gonna blame Bruce or Blake. But the fact of the matter is, when I was on the NCAC, we used to have, traffic meetings and they were attended by somebody from the county. We used to have land use meetings. I was on both committees. And somebody from the county came to our land use meetings.
Yes.
None of that is happening.
Yeah.
They're in a vacuum. They have their meetings and it's the only time they really have any interaction is at the NCAC meeting. And that is wrong because that's why people don't attend because it's way too long. I agree with you, Jim. It would be good if it could be brought back to the bank or something like that. Then you might get actually people attending. But as far as I can see, the attendance is way, way down. And the county are not paying any attention. Sorry.
So good input on improving the NCAC. We're accountable for proposed committee. Let's work on getting this committee working better. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. And
maybe you should be inviting somebody from the NCAC to come to your pros meeting.
We have two people.
Or vice versa. I know you're here. I know you're here, but how can I say this?
I'm joining the
Maybe
committee
Bruce,
as a business.
I don't know, what's his name? Your president,
Brian.
Brian,
Delusive.
Yeah.
but he doesn't believe in me and he likes the Zoom meetings.
Yeah, yes.
I'm sorry to say.
We should talk to Brian.
Can we go back to my motion? Because I got
Yes.
3 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll just vote.
Okay.
Sorry.
so we have a motion on the table to get this list to Matt with some nature of communication. Right.
With the deletion of line 2 and otherwise.
So call for the vote.
Yes.
Wait,
So
so Shannon, you move it, who
I
seconded?
seconded it. I
Seconded,
had modified it to include the removal of number 2.
Yeah,
I'll say this was Shannon's original motion.
Yes.
So anyway,
Jim just seconded.
And I seconded.
so yes,
Jim seconded.
Yes.
Because they're.
and Jeff.
sorry, you
Oh,
moved,
yeah,
and
I
you seconded
seconded,
it,
yeah.
got it,
simply.
yeah,
And now we're
Got it.
voting, right?
Yes.
yep,
Then I said yes.
I.
I thought so.
So.
Wow. I am excited. I thought we were gonna like reconfigure that and add to it and okay. It's good and over time, it may even get better. That's what we're saying. Okay. And I'm not sure exactly next steps, but it has something to do with, well, I'll communicate that and lots of hints about, interacting with school board, with CTP and CAC on this, bring this to others and grow it and work towards some influence plan together. So I think with that, sensitive to time, Julie, you want to
Yeah, I'm
co-comment?
just gonna add, I'm certainly happy to take that back to the superintendent and discuss
Mhm.
with Scott Smith what's come out of the meeting today. So-
Right, and I will take it to the tourism board as something that they can endorse, they're, and I think it should go to the
Yeah,
NCAC next list stuff.
Chief working at CAC.
Yeah.
Dan, it's a meeting day.
Anything, that's not obvious on future agenda items?
What was the future agenda item I suggested? It was that, I don't know. It's been too long.
But we'll
I'll
listen
email
back.
you if you need.
Yeah. Yeah, anything that comes up anytime, future agenda items. I'm gonna try to pull this all together over the next week because, we got vacations coming and, so. With that, Thank you very much.
Thank
One
you.
last
Oh,
comment?
one more comment.
Future agenda item.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It was, maintenance was discussed, and I would like to suggest a future item to make sure there's clear understanding of the roles and responsibilities for maintenance of parks, recreation, and open spaces. Again, we go back to the original plan from 1994, very clearly says maintenance is in there. Now there seems to have been a change. It's unclear what that change was. Who's responsible for what?
And Michael, can I ask that, an explanation at least of some kind be provided by either our gentleman or pros together in regards to the bathroom or actually sits?
Okay.
Because it was been a very confusing message.
Yes, it was.
You know, I like timelines. I just want to know the time.
240
And
days
the
since
time.
some on the date, yeah. It is 2:24 PM and this meeting of the pros committee adjourned. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It is. I watch it.
Well,
It's just a fact.